So we are still live on the agenda on campus. Stevie, as I told you, after the breather, I would introduce to you some wonderful personalities in the studios this day. I have with me here Mr. Derek Xatse and also Mr. Ampong. We are going to dissect and bisect issues of national interest. As you can see, they are I mean, looking so handsome and looking all busted out to add their views. I think I would start with Mr. Ampong. How do you feel? I mean, how are you?
Oh, I'm doing well, you know, even with times where we have a pandemic like COVID.
Yes.
The Lord has been good, so continue to give thanks.
The Lord is your strength.
Oh, yes, He is my strength.
That's
but first of all, let me bring viewers greetings from the NPP fraternity. Let me also bring my colleagues here greetings from the NPP fraternity led by President Nana. He is still resolute in the nation transforming agenda, and we believe that all things are working together for our good. So let's continue to have faith and persist in these hard times.
Before you read the entire NPP manifesto, I think I would have to come back to and then for you to also understand Mr. Derek Xatse is a student. I mean, he's done with undergraduate and still a student, and he's actually the constituency deputy of communication officer of the National Democratic Congress in AGYAPA West Wuogon. I mean, he had a position as a student, so he can actually feel the heat today, and Ampong is all busted out to face him squarely. So, Mr. Derek, how do you feel?
Brooks, thanks so much for the opportunity. Greetings to your viewers. Greetings to all that are watching. It's never been easy in a time of pandemic. And then, aside the pandemic, you have another severe hardship in Ghana under the leadership of Nana Danquah. But Ghanaians who are willing and very discerning are willing that they will give John Dramani Mahama, who has been tried and tested and has been there before, another opportunity to rescue Ghana from the terrible hands of Nana Danquah. And in AGYAPA West Wuogon, where we are just hosted, John Seto Kofi Dumelo will also become the MP to contribute to the decision making in Parliament, in the 7th Parliament of Ghana, so that we wouldn't have an MP that would just be a backbencher, okay, but will contribute effectively. But his experience in the industry that he's coming from, he can contribute as much as possible to the development of Ghana, and that is the agenda.
I think you can sense the solemnity of their submissions. I mean, I don't know, but I know, I mean, in the procedure of executing their statements, here is going to get heated up. I mean, they are starting on angelic message, and I know it's definitely going to end in tears for both of them anyway. So today we are delving straight into the topics of the AGYAPA Day. I think the AGYAPA Day has really circulated in our media landscape, and today we are blessed to have with us here this prominent, wonderful, I mean, exuberant gentlemen to, I mean, show their views or express their concerns about what they feel. I think I would have to start with Ampong. I mean, your government or your party is in power, so I think you would have to start first. I think you've heard from people, CSOs have showed their concerns about the fraudulent nature of the AGYAPA deal, and they have stated that the government has not treated or exhausted the due procedures to be able to even come up with a deal, and also having a problem with the selection of the board chairman of the particular deal. I mean, what do you say to that? It assumes, I mean, it appears that everyone is against the government, the CSOs, the opposition party, and the only entity that finds something good in the AGYAPA deal appears to be just the government. What is your opinion on that?
Well, thank you, Brooks. Let me bring you greetings again from the NPP fraternity. You didn't allow me to finish. There's no problem with that. And let's move straight into the issue. You see, when governments are elected into power, they are elected to pursue the very important interests of the people who voted them into power.
Definitely.
And so when I am government and I sit in the corridors of power, what I do is to make sure that I am able to work with what I have within my hand.
Okay.
So when I inherit something, something from the past government, I look at ways at which I can improve on it, okay, to improve the livelihood of people who voted for me, so that if I go to election again, they will vote for me. That is the purpose of government, and that is what every government strives to do, to improve the livelihoods of people. Now let us look at the history of mining and minerals in this country.
Sure.
Look, people who speak against the AGYAPA deal today, and I'll let me put it this way: the NDC opposition party, who is speaking against AGYAPA today, are parading themselves as a better alternative to government. Isn't that the case?
Go on.
And they are telling us that when they come into power, they are going to cancel this deal. Meaning that they have a superior alternative to making sure that we can reap the best from our mineral sources. Now, when President Mahama became president in 2012, the mining sector was growing at a rate of 16.4%. In 2013, it dropped to 11.6. 2014, it dropped to 3.2. 2015, it dropped to negative 6.1. And in 2016, when he was in power, when he was leaving power, it dropped to negative 7.6. So if this government today is taking steps that the few royalties that we get from our minerals can be securitized so that we can generate more interest, I expect him to be the last person in the opposition in parliament and his opposition party to criticize this. Because under you, the sector was sinking. Look, in 2014, in 2012, we produced 4.2 million ounces of gold. In 2015, we produced 3.6 million. In 2012, we were importing 1.7 billion worth of mineral products. In 2015, we were importing 6.58 billion. What does that tell you? We were losing value on our minerals. Ghana is a country that has been blessed with a lot of mineral resource. And because of incompetence and mismanagement of the sector, this is what was happening to us.
No, but the position of the CSOs and also the position of the opposition party is that the government stands at a risk of losing a whopping $200 million of cash flow sacrifice if this deal is not able to pull through. And also they've seen the purpose of this deal as in targeting bringing kind of liberation to our mining sector being defeated on arrival.
How is it being defeated?
I mean, they are questioning the procedures that is followed, because according to them, how this kind of deal was being given to the son of an appointee of the government, and also it's on record that this same appointee has stated that the public sector is choked. They feel that it's an abuse of incumbency and it's a calculated attempt to loot money and also share. I mean, don't you think it's very unfair to overlook the concerns of the CSOs, the opposition, and just concentrate on achievements in the mining sector?
I was coming there. You see, I was trying to build my argument to join.
We don't have enough time, so.
But no problem. The CSOs and opposition, but I like to concentrate more on the opposition party. Let us ask ourselves that what is the main purpose of this AGYAPA royalty deal? Every year, government rakes in, revenue from our the minerals that we have, and part is given to the chiefs. And government is saying that no, we don't get as much as we are as much as is taken from here. We don't get much profit as much as is taken, as much as the gold that is taken from here. Let me say it this way, that the gold that is mined in Ghana, if you strike the average between what we get from the gold that is mined and what those who come and mine the gold get, we are at the bottom of the list, meaning that we are being cheated. And so the gold that we get, we are now going to step up our game on how we manage our revenue from it. So if you tell me that we are going to lose $200 million, I don't get where we are going to lose the $200 million from. In fact, in any case, gold revenue to the national budget has always been between $100 million and $150 million. And under this deal, the money that is going to come from the gold is going to be reinvested in the mining sector to boost mining growth. is also going to be reinvested in other companies offshore, other mining, establishments offshore in other countries, so that even indeed Ghana is the highest producer of gold, is one of the most highest producers of gold on the world. What we are going to do now is that we are going to invest in other countries' mines, so that we can also get money from the gold they mine. So how can you tell me that the government of Ghana is going to lose $200 million from this?
I think the position of the CSOs and also the opposition party, and some concerned Ghanaians, is the fact that there is lack of indicator that put proper checks on monitoring the procedures of transaction, and that is, the imperative intent of what they are stating. They are stating that the government has not exhausted any legal procedure, documentary procedure, to arrive at a consensus that this particular deal is not dirty. In quote. So I am stating that, as a communicator of the NPP, what do you feel, or what have you seen that are putting this particular deal in proper checks?
Look. If you tell me that there are no proper documentations in place, this is the Minerals Income Investments Fund Act that was passed on 3rd December 2018 in the Parliament of Ghana. Minority MPs who are now opposing the deal today sat in that house and assented to this, including majority MPs. And this spells out the exact thing that AGYAPA Royalties is going to do for this country through our mineral resources. So how can you tell me that there is no proper legal documentation? In any case, AGYAPA is 100% owned by the government of Ghana. 100% owned by the government of Ghana.
Yes, but
so how can you tell me that there are no proper checks or procedures when there is an act that has been passed in Parliament?
Arguments from the Ministry of Information,
that
led by Honorable Kojo Ponkroma, stating that the comments coming from the CSOs were not needed, they were irrelevant. And as we believe, we are all stakeholders in this procedure of, coming to a consensus where we vouch for the country to get on its toes. Do you think it's not against our democracy? It doesn't deepen our democracy to have Minister of Information stating that this civil, society, organizations who have, served as, indicators of this kind of procedures for a number of years, will be discounted, discredited, and also be discarded in this manner. Do you think it's very fair?
Well, first of all, I haven't heard or I haven't seen personally myself that he has made those comments. But if in any case, something in semblance of those comments.
No, he said that it's a calculated attempt to bastardize the deal, supposedly making sure that the government is in right position, and that the opposition is just playing a political ploy just to discredit the government's policy.
Yes, and that is where I will agree with him, because from June or from May 2018, this particular bill was laid in Parliament. So why is it that you haven't raised any argument, you haven't raised any possible opposition to this from 2008, and in 2020 when we have about 96 days for the election, you begin to raise...
We'll be moving to Mr. Xatse. Yes, you will come in. I think we don't have enough time. So I think let's get to Mr. Derek. I think he is heckling within. He is dying in need to also express his concerns about how he assesses the deal. I think we've seen the rank and file of your party speaking against the deal. They stated that the deal is fraudulent. The deal, will bring the economy into, disrepute and also in recess. I've heard the leadership of your party speak against the deal. As a communicator of the NDC, how do you assess Mr. Ampong's submission and also your general view on the AGYAPA royalty deal?
Okay, Fred, thanks so much for the opportunity once again. Dealing with AGYAPA, that has become a trending issue. In the earlier submission by my brother, the beginning part, I will accept what he said, that management and economy, it's about delivering the best to increase the welfare of the people. It is all about development. The development is a holistic nature. So anything that you do should be to the utmost interest of the citizens. because you are just there as a body to manage on behalf of the citizens. So that is the aim of every government. But how you execute your plans and policies to reflect in the lives of the people is always the difficulty. And that is why we have different divergent views when it comes to governance. So NPP might have it to bring out policies, roll it out to the benefit of the citizens. But the way and manner in which they will roll out those policies is what will make others raise concerns about it. In talking about AGYAPA, you realize my friend could not talk about even the views expressed by the CSOs. The reason being that you want to just limit it to NDC. Then you should know that the CSOs are equally Ghanaians who also pay their tax, and the government is managing it on their behalf. The CSOs comprises people, it's not just the NPPs, people from academia with serious expertise. So when they are advising you, you don't just treat it like, okay, it is opposition that is talking. It is because of the utmost interest of Ghanaians. That is why you see the CSOs and the views expressed by the NDC in one accord. AGYAPA deal is a very shoddy and like it's just more or less of thievery. This is serious armed robbery. The reason why I'm saying it is a well-calculated attempt to rob Ghana from the dues of what is due Ghana. I'm saying this because my friend earlier made something like AGYAPA deal is 100% own Ghana. He probably doesn't know. As I said, they just maybe print documents for him to come here and mention it. He doesn't even understand it. AGYAPA deal has 51% amounting to that belongs to Ghana, and then 49% that belongs to the private sector.
We've heard the leadership of the, the New Patriotic Party and also the government speaking to the fact that the AGYAPA Royalty Limited actually belongs 100% to the government.
The shares they are going to float using the IPO and the London Stock Exchange market, okay, gives the private sector an opportunity to participate in it. The AGYAPA royalties that they are talking about, I don't even call it AGYAPA, it is Ejabone. Ejabone to the extent that if your father bequeaths something to you, you should find a very proper way to handle it. But they gave it the term AGYAPA because it is favoring their family and friends. The reason why I'm saying this thing is, the act that was passed in the parliament that my friend made reference to, 2018, the Minerals Act, it got nothing to do with AGYAPA here right now. Because the AGYAPA company that has just been set up as a special purpose vehicle got nothing to do with the 2020 budget of Ghana. It got nothing to do with it because it is not even stated in the 2020 budget, even not even the previous budget or the mid-year review one, that, oh, we are going to set up a company called AGYAPA Royalties that is going to help manage the royalties of that Ghana will get from gold. Never. It is not stated in it. So something that was passed in 2018, that is the act. But what you do with the act is what has become the bone of contention right now, and that is the AGYAPA. Nobody is talking about how you are going to manage the royalties of Ghana. But setting up that company called AGYAPA, that had the name as Xaste Royalties, then within the twinkle of an eye, it was incorporated on the 14th of August as AGYAPA Royalties, is very shoddy. It is very shoddy because it lacks transparency. Now ask yourself, why are the minority and the CSOs raising so much concern about AGYAPA deal? The deal is situated in a tax haven country. What is a tax haven country? That is a place where people who want to avoid taxes, that is called tax avoidance, they go and put their wealth and other resources into. And that's a tax haven country that they are citing, that is a New Jersey. The island is the third when it comes to those tax haven countries in the world. If you are to list them, the third country, it's AGYAPA. And that one is found just between England and then France. But people who go and put that, I'm talking about the tax haven. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the tax haven. So when you, as a government of Ghana, who want to be very transparent with people and investors, you go and put your company in a tax haven country, what are you hiding from the people? It means there's something amiss. There's something that you don't want the citizens to be aware of. Now, when you send the documents to Parliament, it was in a rushed manner. A document that it took you 2 years to prepare. you brought it before the minority or the finance committee in parliament that they should peruse that document within a space of 4 hours. Who does that? Now, you send the document to parliament without...
Before you go on, I think people are getting confused between New Jersey and Jersey. I think when you say New Jersey, you bring people's ideas or focus on in US. In US, and so I think it's Jersey.
I'm talking about the Jersey in the Channel Island, UK.
Yeah, in the UK.
That is what I'm talking about.
Yes.
Good. So let me go forward. The Jersey I'm referring to is talking about the Channel Island in...
Definitely.
That is it. So it's got nothing to do with the New Jersey in US or whatever thing. No.
Sure.
Then I was talking about the prospectus.
Yeah.
The prospectus is what every investor will look out for before trying to invest. So it's like you're a company, then your CEO or the managing director will come and say, okay, we want to go and float shares. Now, what is the value of the company? What terms and assumptions are you going to use to value that particular company? It will all be factored in your prospectus. But there was nothing of prospectus that has been sent to Parliament.
But Derek, I think before you go on, I think one thing that has been so obvious in our political landscape is how bureaucratic our politics can be. And also, the position of the ruling government stating that it's just a calculated attempt to bastardize the government's deal, and also stating that it could be just a political ploy to discredit the government's performance in the mining sector. Don't you think that the position of the NDC, reacted so quickly than expected, because we have members or political actors in the ruling government stating that you should have even waited for the deal to forge forward a bit before you even point out some mistakes. I think you would have to also address the fact that you responded so quickly to the happenings in the AGYAPA deal.
Mr. Fred, does it mean the CS also responded so quickly?
That's the position of the
you know what? You know, budget. When they talk about 2020 budget, it will be presented in the previous year. That will be like in 2019. The budget outlines the plans and visions of the government in that particular year. There was nothing about SPV, AGYAPA royalties that will be set up in 2020. It had nothing to do with that. So if it had even been stated in the 2020 budget in 2019, people could have even started checking and finding out what really is about this AGYAPA royalties and co. There was nothing of that sort. In the mid-year review budget, there was nothing in it called AGYAPA royalties. So what is the rush manner for? You have 3 months to the end of your tenure, of which you don't know what will happen after 7 December. The reason why the minority are raising concerns is, I told you we have to rescue Ghana. The Ghana, our road fund has been mortgaged. The energy sector levy has also been mortgaged. The debt fund has also been mortgaged. Should we also wait for another mortgage of our royalties? Whilst you know that annually you are getting almost $150 million from your royalties, and somebody has not presented to you cash flows for even the 15-year period, and the person just said he is valuing your royalties for the next 15 years for $1 billion. Who says that? I say for $1 billion. And you want to mortgage it for $500 million. $500 million just divided by the 15 years. You will know that even using all their terms and terminologies, I don't want to go into, maybe my friend is not well versed when it comes to finance. I'm talking about you calculating the present value of your future cash flows. That future cash flow that they are talking about, that is the $500 million. You know that the royalties has really been undervalued. The calculations by even CSOs and experts value the royalties at $3.5 billion. You know what will happen? When you value it at $1 billion, the investors that will come will know that there is so much in it, and they will just come and there will be so much oversubscription. When there is so much oversubscription, it's not because there's a good look for the performance of the company, but because I can just come and buy the shares and later just offload it. And when I float it out or give it to somebody else, I'm going to make so much money out of it because they know the prospect of it.
Yes,
I'm coming. What valuation was done to just value that the royalties in it is $1 billion and then you are mortgaging it for $500 million?
I think according to the statistics that we heard from Mr. Ampong, if you check the indices, the performance of the government on managing the mining sector, it appears that they have done relatively, better than your administration. And also, to put into consideration the fact that they thought of the mining sector, talked about something sustainable to safeguard the mining sector. We understand the kind of brouhaha that we've experienced in the mining sector. Don't you think they deserve some credit?
You know what I'm still talking about this thing?
Discredit?
I'm talking about budget, 2020 budget. It got nothing to do with that, okay, your inflows, you are going to get a $500 million from this part of it, like maybe from AGYAPA, that you are going to use to finance the budget. There was nothing of that sort. If there had been something of that sort, you would have known the specific thing that they are going to use the $500 million for. It is not stated in it. So the money that they are going to get, that will be the mortgage, $500 million. What are they going to use it for? Does it mean they are going to spend it on items that are outside the budget or what? Now, Mr. Fred, these things that are happening, you see, it's a very serious thing. Let's be frank with ourselves. You set up a company, you give it out that the people that are going to run the book is data bank brokerage. Now that data bank is linked to someone. You set up an advisory firm. That advisory firm is being handled by no mean a person than Mr. Gabriel Ochodako, who is the head of the African Legal Association. And that associate has been paid $2 million already for just the service of their advisor that has been given. And you know what has happened? The Attorney General, who is the sole advisor to the government of Ghana, is now saying that the whole deal is very unconscious. Like, it's very unconscionable.
You have like 10 seconds to
yes,
wrap up.
Yes. The reason why I'm saying this thing is, so for your own legal advisor, that is Attorney General, to give an opposing view to the things that you are trying to do, means that there's something behind it. Now, what is the rush for it? The rush for it is that you are not furnishing Parliament with all the documents that they are requesting for. The cash flows, the prospectus, the financial the fiscal impact. You are not providing them with anything, and you are saying that when you provide them with it is going to expose them, and the investors will be aware of everything that's happening. What is the secrecy in this whole document?
What is the rush for it? That is a comment or statement coming from the communicator of the National Democratic Congress and also the Deputy Communication Officer of the Ayawaso West Wuogon constituency. We'll be taking a short breather. Right after the breather, we'll touch on this very topic and we'll move on to another topic. Don't go anywhere. Stay tuned. So if you are watching, you are still live on the agenda on Campus TV, your most authoritative political platform, as I stated, provides the space for activists to contribute their quota towards national development from the educational perspective. As I told you, I remain your favorite host, Frederick Brooks. I have with me here, still in the studios, wonderful people. Mr. Derek was seeking to conclude his point before I interjected and we took the short breather. So I think I'll give you 1 minute to finish your statement. Then I think Ampong will come into rebut.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Brooks. My major concern, or the concern that has been expressed by Ghanaians, is the reason why the Finance Ministry is not willing to furnish Parliament with all the requisite documents, especially with the incorporation of the AGYAPA royalties, how it was just established, and all of a sudden it was just moved into a tax haven, that is Xatse in the islands. That tax haven country, it's very, people who want to hide their investments.
Sorry to interject you, but then the Minister for Information stated that the government is not obligated to pay taxes on royalties. So don't you think that is quite explicit to say, from the government?
I initially told you that people who want to avoid tax, that is tax avoidance, they try to find legal means to hide behind it, and they will say that, okay, they don't want to pay taxes. But imagine if every company wants to go and set up in Xatse, how will you be able to get your taxes for the management of the country? It is not the best corporate governance practice. You get the point? Okay. It is people who want to hide things or who want to engage in shoddy deals, they do those kind of things. The major concern has been why you don't want to furnish Parliament with the prospectus, why you don't want to furnish Parliament with the cash flows, the setting up of the AGYAPA royalties, and then the people that are involved, the son of the senior minister involved, as an advisor, and he said he is the one who needs to be contacted if you need to contact someone. Then the legal firm, that is the law firm of Mr. Gabriel Asarachudako, who has already been paid $2 million already. And then the use of data bank. You realize that anytime government want to go for loans or euro bonds or whatever thing, they always engage data bank. It means there's something in it. And even the Schwartz report came out that there is either the person has been a former director or a beneficiary of it. And the company that they are talking about, that is a data bank, he has been somebody who has benefited from it before. So the aim of such person is to see to the progress of such company. So it means that there is something good anytime the government wants to go for loans, that is a form of euro bonds or whatever thing, or even local bonds or whatever thing, they engage the services of data bank. It means that there is something in it. And those money that they will get, those money that we will get will inure to the continuity of that particular company. And why will you try to do this thing in this manner when the thing is off budget? Off budget means that there was nothing in it that shows that you are going to raise money in form of mortgaging the royalties of Ghana, and then it's going to be done in the name of AGYAPA royalties. That is the shoddy deal. Nobody is talking about it, but they want to hide behind a special purpose vehicle.
Before we move to Ampong, I would like to ask you this essential question. I mean, as to the fact of challenging the candidature of the son of Honorable Osafo, stating that he did not go to the competitive process to arrive at being appointed to be the advisor of the deal. I mean, listening to the Deputy Finance Minister, he stated that they had 30 candidates and they streamlined them to 6 candidates, of which a competent, a well-established businessman like Kofi Osafo, Mr. Kofi Osafo was chosen or appointed to be the advisor of this particular deal. Don't you think he has the competency? We should rather, concentrate on how focused he is in the micro business, environment, and not just thinking about relationship with, a certain appointee. Don't you think these are petty, issues that we shouldn't be focusing on? I think I would like to take 15 seconds of your time to address that, and we'll move.
Mr. Fred, there's nothing. It is never petty. The views and concerns raised are never petty, because this is a senior minister. Even before when NPP assumed government, just said that the public sector is choked, there's no vacancy, but they managed to create an office space for the sons. One at NCA as deputy director, another person as deputy director at Senate. How did they manage to create an office space for him? And over the 30 million Ghanaians, there's nobody that has the requisite expertise, and he is the only person that managed to make that deal. Why? How did it happen? I listed to you the involvement of Mr. Gabriel Asarachudakou's law firm. I indicated to you the involvement of Data Bank, which belongs to one of the groups of Mr. Ken Oforiatta. And you can see that that is just the cabal. That is why it's a calculated attempt. And how the thing just became an off-budget thing. Off-budget means that you just woke up one day and just said, oh, let's do this and control the resources of Ghana. And the aim of this government, as family and friends, is to control the majority parts of Ghana's capital. And that is what we are doing.
Thank you very much. I think we have to move on to Mr. Ampong. Mr. Ampong, you've heard from the opposition party, the minority caucus in parliament. You've also heard from CSOs, expressing their displeasure towards the deal. They've stated that even the candidate that was presented, in the person of Mr. Kofi Osafo, did not go to the competitive processes to be selected as the advisor of the particular AGYAPA royalty deal. What's your position on that? Being a member of a political party that spoke against friends and family government, don't you think that contravenes that, or it defeats the purpose of even rubbishing the fact that we shouldn't have family and friends government?
Thank you, Brooks. You see, the first thing that you must know, and the first thing that every Ghanaian must know, is that the NDC as a political party don't speak the truth. That is the first thing that you must know. And they have not hidden from that, because it came to a time where they had a propaganda secretariat at their national office. And they had people who were manning that secretariat. So when it comes to distorting the facts and straying away from what we are talking about or from the issues on the table, they have no contenders. And even in fact in 2018, President Rawlings said that he himself as a founder finds it difficult to believe some of the things his party people say at the June 4th celebration. So when people like this come to public space and are making arguments, we have to watch them from left, right, top, and down. But let me come to the issue.
Meaning you are not safe.
Let me come to the issue. Let me come to the issue. You see, when you talk about Kofi Osafo being selected as the CEO.
I mean, Mr. Kofi Osafo.
Mr. Kofi Osafo being selected as the CEO of AGYAPA Royalties. He went through a proper competitive process at an international headhunting firm called Crom Ferry. And you can check it. I am stating it on your platform today. Nobody can dispute that fact. And he was selected because he has 25 years experience in investment banking.
The minority is stating that they did not publish. They did not advertise.
So if they wanted to be published,
they felt that
Crom Ferry is a firm that is not.
They felt that they are citizens who are, I mean, either of equal incompetence. I mean, equal competence.
No, they are incompetent.
Equal competence. Equal competence, and also have the great credentials to also be in that same position.
Fred,
and
sorry to interject you.
Yeah,
you cannot tell someone that he is incompetent and he is competent.
I will show you why they are incompetent.
Okay, I mean that's on the lighter note. So, but I mean, they are stating their position is that they are equal people. I mean, they are equal people who have equal competence and also great credentials to manage or be in that particular position. And also they see that they needed someone, a candidate who could do the bidding of the government, whether the dirty work or whatever, I mean, statement that they issued. And so, I mean, the fact that it wasn't advertised, the fact that it wasn't published, any national, I mean, graphic, asked to people to apply, and they just stated that they had 30 people. Who are the 30 people? They were streamlined to 6 people. Who were the 6 people? Which indicators, which panel, which organization, which ministry came at a consensus that this particular gentleman deserves to be here? That's the position of the CSOs. That is the position of the NDC. That's the, I mean, position of a lot of Ghanaians who feel this deal is fraudulent.
Okay. You see, you have been able to even give specifics that there were 30 people who were competing for that position.
That's what
and it was streamlined to 6.
From the deputy minister for finance.
Yes, and I'm telling you that there is a firm called Crom Ferry, okay, that undertook this headhunting, whole process and arrived on Mr. Kofi Osafo. So if anything, why is the NDC not writing to that firm to give us the full details of the report so that we can get more clarity and put that conversation in proper context? I think in the absence of that, we'll just be engaging in empty conjecture and allow him to do his normal propaganda. So what they need to do, if they are really committed to seeing the transparency that they always talk about, is to write to Crom Ferry and tell them that we have been informed that your firm has undertaken this and we need the full details of the report. That is the only way we can ascertain that. But if we have been given details that 30 people and it was streamlined to 6 people, I think then there was really a process that went on. Government will not just get up and do anything. Even ministers who are selected by this government go for vetting. You get what I'm saying?
Sure.
And so yes, there can never be a process like that. Then let me come to some things that he said.
No, I think before we go on, I think we are far. I mean, time is fast spent, and also would have to. I think would make another time for this particular topic. But then we can't also overlook the fact that in the media landscape there is something trending, whether OKADA should be legalized or not. The position of the National Democratic Congress is that OKADA has come to stay, and that we should have a regulatory body that makes regulations to make the OKADA more safer and better. I mean, we know that a lot of countries are doing it and they are making money out of it. That's the position of the National Democratic Congress. Also, the position of the New Patriotic Party is that the government, the NDC as a political party is using this as a political ploy to sweep votes from the OKADA riders. I mean, we are privileged to still have in the studios here these honorable people who are going to respond to that. So, Mr. Darkwah, we have some few moments or some few minutes to address this issue. So, I would want you to briefly, show your concerns. Maybe you could be a communicator of the NDC, but then you'll be against the legalization of the OKADA. Now, what's your position on that?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Fred. OKADA, it's something that has just come to stay. Our economy evolves. And when your economy evolves, you have to find the best possible measure or the best possible policy that you can put in place to curtail a lot of issues. We all know that in the laws of Ghana, OKADA is illegal. Sometimes you see the police just trying to arrest them and other things. Other people also use it for very mischievous and very wicked acts. Some people use it for armed robbery cases and other things. We know the negatives and then the positive aspect of it. But nobody can override, nobody can also undermine the importance of OKADA. OKADA, it's something that almost everybody in Ghana here uses or you patronize in one way or the other. The reason why I'm saying this is, they said that when you sit on motor or those tricycle and you don't pay money for it, it is not called OKADA. But immediately you pay money for it, it is OKADA. What is the sense and the logic in this?
Entrepreneurial part of it.
Can you imagine? Yeah. The entrepreneurial aspect of it is now illegal. But when you don't use it for the entrepreneurial aspect, it is legal. Does it make sense? And
That's
this
an interesting point.
And this is something that a lot of people are patronizing. If Nana Akufo-Addo and his government is saying that OKADA is an illegal thing, then they should go and declare that they will not legalize OKADA, they will not regulate it, and they will arrest anybody that will be doing OKADA. So that we all see in Ghana.
I think the position of the New Patriotic Party is that there are a lot of accident cases. I mean, OKADA has constituted to, over 40% of the accident cases that were recorded in Ashanti region particularly.
Yeah.
And they are looking at the safety measures. They feel that even if the NDC should come into power, proper regulations that will regulate some of this OKADA business and everything will be defeated, and it's just a political play, just to vote and not to contribute to the economic state of the country.
My brother, OKADA is something that will contribute to the economic state of Ghana. We all patronize taxi and co. Don't they also get involved in accidents?
Sure.
When you look at the percentage of those that of accidents nature in Ghana, the contribution from the OKADA, that is the motorcycles, and that of the vehicle, which one is the highest? You know that the OKADA contributes to accidents in Ghana, but when you regulate them and you legalize it, you'll be able to check on those accidents and co. When I go and sit on motor and I'm saying that take me to this destination, it depends on what I tell you. Sometimes I'll tell the OKADA driver, baby, don't go speed. It's the same way when passengers sit in vehicles and co. They'll tell the other, maybe driver, I want to reach here in 10 minutes time. Be in a hurry or don't drive at top speed. It depends on how you communicate with the person. And when they are regularized and then they are checked very well, they will be able to know that when I'm in the midst of people, I need not to go beyond this speed limit. When you provide them with all the helmet and co, they'll be able to provide safety to people. Now, you know one thing, you don't take something that belongs to the citizens that will make them happy. It's because OKADA is just with them. When we all experience traffic and you're in a hurry to go, the ministers and what do? They put on their siren. Then they just try to manage their ways and go at top speed. But the ordinary person who is in trotro, you see them sweating because of the car is stuck in traffic. You've not been able to upgrade and make our roads dualized roads and co. So they are stuck in traffic. So what I'm trying to say is, OKADA is something that people make livelihood out of it. They make money out of it. The government can equally also find a way to tax them for the development of the same OKADA. So if President John Dramani Mahama is saying that he's going to regularize OKADA and is going to legalize it, he has a better vision for the citizens of Ghana, because OKADA has come and is staying with us. Anybody who says that he's not going to legalize it or he's not going to regularize it, the person doesn't have the vision to manage them like a resource.
Thank you very much, Mr. Derek. Mr. Derek is stating that anyone who speaks against the legalization of the OKADA business is either myopic or doesn't have the vision for Ghana, and he believes that OKADA business would contribute to the economic stability and also make sure that we come to our form. He is also looking at, the money-making aspect, which I think we are not in our normal times and everything is about money. But let's also get to Mr. Ampong, who, belongs to a party who is strongly against the fact that those statements coming from the opposition party is just a ploy just to see votes and all that, and have a lot of issues with that particular statement from the opposition party. I think your party has focused on the safety measures. I think that is what we are supposed to focus on as every nation, to make sure that policies are safe. But don't you think that as you are keeping people safe and you are not, giving remedy to their financial crisis, their financial issues, the economic, relevance of their lives, you are really hurting, their pockets in the process.
Thank you, Fred. You see, first I stated that dealing with these people, you must know that when it comes to the truth, they are very far away from it. In 2012, under the government of President Mahama and under the government of NDC, OKADA was illegalized in this very country. You know that act, and it was sent to Parliament that OKADA activities should be scrapped from our nation's landscape, and we shouldn't see any OKADA.
But before that, was OKADA legalized or not?
Yes. Why? Then that is the question we are supposed to ask ourselves. That why did you illegalize it? OKADA drivers have been in this country from God knows when. So why do you come all of a sudden in 2012 and tell us that you are making them illegal? Why? Now today, you the same person, turn yourself around and tell us that you are going to make it legal and you are going to regularize it. How do you expect the OKADA drivers and the OKADA riders to take you? And you demand respect from people like this, and you are telling me OKADA in this country must be legalized and must be glorified to become an employment venture. You were talking before we came here. You were speaking that you have friends who have sat at home for close to 2 to 3 years. Yes. So you are legalizing OKADA, and you are telling me that someone who has graduated with a BA in maybe business administration, a BSc in physics, a BSc in chemistry will go to the street, get a motor, and start riding people to work.
I'm sure the position of the opposition party is not that the OKADA business is open for all.
No, but if you legalize it, what are you telling me?
Yes, but the
if weed is legalized today, do you know the number of people who walk around with rolls on the street?
The government is focusing on making sure that it's a rigorous policy that doesn't look at a particular group of people. For all that we have already number of people who are already OKADA riders who feel that they are on numerous occasions they are being chased after by police, and this results in the number of accidents. Normally they are being chased, and they crash into other dishes and all those things. They are seeking that at least the government should find a way to legalize it so that police will stop interfering in their business, chasing them, leading and causing their, accidents. I think that's the argument from the OKADA riders.
Making the assertion that OKADA accidents are caused by police, in my opinion, would be very unfortunate.
No, these are concerns that came from some OKADA riders who stated that they are being chastised, they are being chased after. There's always some kind of racing between them and the police, and that is what sometimes contributes to their accidents. Yes.
But you cannot attribute the whole accidents, the number of accidents that got into the police vigilance, because the police are on the road to make sure that things go on smoothly. So that we even reduce the rate of accidents.
Yes, and I know it's not the aim of the police to make sure that they are involved in accidents.
Good. So that begs the question that why do we have to legalize this thing when we know that a lot of people are losing lives, and you know that the police are on the road to prevent accidents?
As Mr. Derrick stated, even vehicles, get involved in accidents. So, does your application suggest that because we have a lot of vehicular accidents, we are supposed to ban the use of vehicles?
Nobody is saying that OKADA must be banned. If OKADA were to be banned in this country, there will be no single OKADA rider in this country.
Before you come in, if a certain policy, a certain act is not being legalized, it's on ban, it's on default. It is unacceptable in the government, and that is why someone can be arrested and be prosecuted if the person is engaging in OKADA business as of this particular moment. So, it defeats your statement coming from you that if OKADA was actually banned, nobody would be able to operate.
Then why do we still have OKADA drivers in this country if OKADA is banned? Why do we have OKADA drivers?
Marijuana is unacceptable. It's a drug that is unacceptable in our society. But then we still have people with marijuana.
But now we have we have even gotten to a situation where there is an Okada Riders Association in this country. Why ask yourself that? Why aren't the police going after the Okada
So
riders?
the government, so this particular government supports Okada business.
Because listen,
I will need you to answer that question, and we'll move on. No, we don't have enough time, so I will need
First of all,
I will need you to answer that particular question, then we move on. Does the government, support Okada business?
The government till today does not have any official position on Okada.
So what is your party's position?
So your party is your government. So then what is the case of the police chasing Okada riders?
Because these people here have put it in
Which
parliament.
People?
It wasn't Okada illegalized under the NDC. And so if you have put it in parliament that Okada drivers must be arrested, what do you expect the law?
What are you going to do?
And why do you turn around at this clutching of us telling us that?
I think before you listen to me, supposedly if the position of the National Democratic Congress on Okada riding is stating that they should illegalize it, and you have a government, the ruling government is your party representing a government, is stating that they don't have any official position on the Okada. Then it means that Okada, as we speak at the moment, is not illegal.
Good.
So Okada is not illegal.
Is Okada illegal?
I'm asking you, is Okada illegal or legal?
I was asking you.
No, I'm asking you.
Is Okada illegal?
No, you are coming to speak for your political party.
And I'm telling you that up till today, we don't have a position on Okada. But our problem is that this same people sitting here banned the thing in 2012 and are turning around telling us that they're going to legalize it. How can we believe this?
Listen, I'm stating that if Okada, you don't know whether Okada is illegal or
I'm
not.
saying my party, my government,
listen to me. I'm stating that whether you don't know whether Okada is illegal or legal, right? Yes. So your position is that the government has not declared any official, press on whether Okada is illegal or legal.
But
so that defeats the intent or the purpose of the Ghana Police Service even arresting, because if something is, if the government is not having a position on whether something is illegal or not, then there is illegality in even a police arresting someone who is engaging in Okada business.
How is there illegality?
You have contradicted the fact.
I have not contradicted any fact. It has been laid before Parliament that Okada should be arrested. And I'm telling you that my government today, with recourse to what the Mahama has said, does not have any position.
If a police arrests an Okada rider, stating that he's commercializing the Okada business, what is your position on that? Is it right or wrong?
My position on that is that it is in the law. It has been put in the law that Okada riders must be arrested. And I'm telling you that
it's illegal.
And I'm telling you that with recourse to what President Mahama has said.
No. I'm stating that I'm stating that we all know the parliamentary procedures. This government, every government has a way of overturning a parliamentary decision.
And so what even tells how can we even know whether as we speak today there are plans in the pipeline that are going to overturn that decision?
Is Okada illegal or legal?
No.
I think it would be fair if I will have to move to Derek. Is Okada illegal or legal?
Okada now, per what we have in the law, is illegal.
So what was your position and why were you running away from that? I'm telling you, we would have to take some few words from Derek on that. We'll come back to you. I think Mr. Ampong was making fantastic points as to how is the NDC who illegalized the Okada business, and at its where people were riding happily and everything until NDC through proper legislation made sure that the Okada business was illegalized. He was stating his position whether he doesn't even know whether it was illegal or not until the latter part he stated that it was illegal. What's your position on that?
Mr. Fred, that's how myopic the NPP government policies are, because they don't even have any policy or plan. The reason I'm saying this thing is, I told you, anybody who doesn't even know that our economy evolves and will be able to appreciate them, put in the best policies and measures, and plans, the president have any vision for Ghana. This thing, 8 years back, we didn't have anything like Prajia. We didn't have anything like the tricycle and those things. That was our economy. Okay, but 8 years now, today we have bucket women making or patronizing Prajia, they are patronizing the tricycle, and then now because of the increase in population and we not dualizing our roads and co and the traffic situation in Accra, you that too first you would have seen the traffic from Okponglo to Circle. It wasn't that easy. Or to airport here, it wasn't that easy. So you see that the motor riders are always at vantage points where there are traffics. So what is the government policy? You should tell us that maybe you, your government, you are going to do something that will ease the traffic. Maybe you are going to dualize the roads and co. So that when the cars are moving freely, there wouldn't be any need for OKADA. You get it? Yes. But when you don't have any plans to dualize our roads and co, then you should be able to appreciate
I'm giving you 1 minute to
good. You should be able to appreciate the need that OKADA has come, and probably it has come to stay. So you need to put in the best measure that will be able to regulate it. You know what? People use OKADA for delivery services. You might be here and just say, okay, you need a parcel delivered to you and co. That is OKADA. They are using it for their service because their company, when they deliver things, you pay for it. Is that not it? Are you going to also ban that? When you ban that, how will people be able to receive their goods and services at maybe at the appropriate time? You are not saying anything about that. He's talking about OKADA, that people will finish education or degree and they will venture into OKADA. How much is OKADA offering people? If every day the income of an OKADA person is 50 Ghana cedis, calculate it per month. A month is 1,000 cedis. Is that not more sustainable than the NAPCO thing that they are always chanting? You see, that is their vision. They don't have any vision. So when you are saying things in that, instead of them to applaud you, they don't have anything to say. They say that, oh, for them, they are undecided. How can you say you are undecided when it comes to OKADA? Are they not human beings? Are you not willing to put in measures and policies that will reflect in the better standard of living of the people? That is how myopic they are. So they have to appreciate it. The MPs, some of them make use of OKADA. We normal human beings, we make use. You know, let me tell you this story. I was going to write an ICA paper at 37 there about. When I was going there, that same day, I had paper at Legon. You know what I did? The paper was supposed to end at 11:30. I finished my paper at 11:30. The paper was supposed to end at 12. So I finished my paper 30 minutes earlier, and I picked OKADA to Legon here to finish my final paper. How was that possible if it wasn't OKADA? So we have to appreciate and know that it has come to stay. Regulate it and legalize it so that people will benefit from it. You, the government, can also benefit from it. When you regulate it very well, they will not have an increase in accident costs in Ghana.
Okay, so I think your final words. Mr. Derrick will come in and I think we end the show for today.
It's very interesting to say that the NPP's policies, or the NPP does not have any plan for Ghana, or the NPP does not have any sensible policies. When today, more than 1.2 million children are in the senior high schools for free. As we speak today, under the able government of President Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo, for the first time in the history of Ghana, the number of look at the number of interchanges that are being constructed concurrently. About 4.
If you are make a topic for this, then
yes, you are telling me that we are not taking steps to ease traffic. For the first time in the history of Ghana, look at the number of roads that are being constructed. This is the first time a government has been able to do a year of roads. So that argument is flawed. Now you are telling me that delivery, people who take things from places to go give to places, to go give to people, our OKADA can also be classified.
Your final words too. I mean, the NPP as a fraternity, because we are. I mean, time is.
So I'm saying that the NPP as a party has not put out any official statement on OKADA, and that must be on record. But to say that the economy is evolving, if you agree that the economy is evolving, why don't you employ very alternative and dynamic ways to get the youth into offices, to get the youth working, like NAPCO, like planting for food and jobs?
So I think.
When we say that some people's policies are taking the country. Are taking the country to a better place, and some people's policies are going to retrogress. This is what we talk about, and it is reflected in the economic indices of this country. Where did President Mahama take the growth of the economy from? It was around 11%, and when he was leaving, it was at 3.5%. We took it in 2017, and it shot up to around 8%. So what are you talking about? If you are telling me that our policies are myopic and they don't make any change, we are growing the economy, and you are destroying the economy. So what are you talking about? You have no policy up to today. You have not even been able to launch your manifesto, and you come and sit here and propound very business arguments that are not situated in any logic. What the people of Ghana want to know is that what is your alternative? What are you coming to do? Will you cancel free SHS or will you not cancel free SHS? Are you now going to restore teacher training allowances when you cancelled it and told us that it will cost you the election? What do you have to offer the people of Ghana? You are incompetent and corrupt.
Mr. Ampong is very heated here, and I think I told you that they normally begin with angelic message and they end in tears. They definitely would have to take some final words from Mr. Derek Xatse. Then we end the show.
Mr. Fred, it has been a very good discussion today, but I want to tell my friend that sometimes when he's saying the thing, he should attach his educational background to it. He shouldn't just speak like somebody who is just a street hawker or anybody. No. When you are making submissions, you should be able to appreciate the import that surrounds it. Okay? You don't just wake up and tell me that NAPCO, because you've given NAPCO to people, it means that you've created some sustainable employment. What is the future of all? I'm coming. Please don't come in. What is the future of all NAPCO employees this year, after this year? Just tell me. They don't know. There's no policy for those NAPCO people because the NAPCO was for 3 years. So the 3 years elapses next year. What is the policy of it after after next year? There's no policy of that sort. But you see, let me not digress and go to their venture where everything is about free SHS, free SHS, free SHS.
I'm sure
I don't know why they don't appreciate things when they
that definitely they are still going to win this particular election. And if the NPP wins, it means that NAPCO is still going to have its fair share with Ghanaians once again.
Does that mean they're going to enact another thing and say this another NAPCO for 3 years? That is different. Let me tell you something. Let me please, my brother. You don't do those things. I'm talking about NAPCO. Hey, I'm talking about OKADA. The OKADA that you are talking about, that is the topic you brought.
Oh yeah, sure.
It's a topic. It's an economy that has evolved and has appreciated these things. It takes only a visionary person who can plan to make life more comfortable for people. If he is saying that their party don't have any policy on OKADA and co, so for them they don't know anything to say. John Dramani Mahama, His Excellency, former president, is saying that he's going to legalize it, he's going to regularize it, and people of Ghana will have a better welfare when it comes to OKADA. Because OKADA has come to say, if they don't have any policy to that, they should not come and bring in free SHS. I don't know what free SHS have even gone to do with NAPCO here, or with OKADA here. I don't know what NAPCO had gone to do with OKADA. When the person who patronizes OKADA makes more money than NAPCO. Which people are patronizing NAPCO right now? It's not graduates. So if you have a graduate who is now patronizing OKADA now, you are not giving him a job, but he himself will find a more comfortable venture into that venture because it will give him a better sustainable employment or livelihood. And we are saying that Ghanaians should be rest assured. There's always a rescue mission. If you don't rescue Ghana from this family and friends corrupt Nana Akufo-Addo government, they are selling the future of the current generation and the future generation. And Ghanaians say that they are going to, and John Dramani Mahama is saying that he's going to rescue Ghana. Even the Titanic sank, and this time we want to rescue that Titanic. Nana Akufo-Addo's government is sinking. He's sinking the betterment of Ghanaians, and John Dramani Mahama will come to rescue Ghanaians. Thank you so much.
That's wonderful submissions from both communicators representing the various political parties. I think we've had Mr. Ampong stating his position strongly, stating that the NPP as a party in government does not have any official, position on whether OKADA is legalized or illegalized, and he stated that it's NDC that brought all this, brouhaha into argument of our landscape. And also we have Mr. Derek, who has also stated that the NDC, the National Democratic Congress, is poised at making sure that we are having, a good financial state, and that is why the government, that is why the opposition party is poised at winning the 2020 election to make sure that OKADA business is legalized for people to have money in their pockets. Before we end the show today, I would like to state something that JJ Rozo said. He said, "We are born in freedom, but in chains." Before we end this show, kindly follow our social media platforms. Campus TV GH on Facebook, Campus TV on YouTube, and Campus.tv on Instagram. I remain your favorite host, Fred Books. We'll meet next time, same time, another time.